So I finally got the last piece of equipment that I needed to set up this Low Rider St for a passenger. You'll see I already have the backrest here and then the passenger pegs. And the last thing I was waiting for was the Saddleman Explorer seat, which finally came. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing installed and see how it fits and what it looks like. So here's a close-up look of the Saddleman Explorer seat. Reason I went with this one over the step up is it does have a wider area for the passenger. And since I do expect to have my wife on the bike, probably longer rides than just some quick stuff, I've heard that this one is much more comfortable than the step up, which should be pretty obvious since this has a lot more padding and surface area than the step up. So went with the black lattice stitch and everything on here, and swapping this out is pretty easy. The way it ships, we'll flip this over here, is this thing right here actually needs to be flipped. We need to unscrew these two screws and then just flip it 180 degrees so this is sticking out this way, and then we'll be able to install it on the bike. And there you go. This is how it should be installed in order to put it on the Low Rider St. And just for reference here, I'm going to show you what I look like on the stock seat to see if it changes my riding position at all. So this is how I sit normally with the stock seat. I am about 5'10", so this is how I sit. My knees are bent probably about almost 90 degrees, and then I can definitely feel my back resting on this little backrest right here. So this is what it looks like in the riding position with the stock seat. And to remove the stock seat, you just unscrew one screw on the back here. And we're actually going to lift it out and off of here. I'm actually just going to wipe down this rear fender, just get all the dirt and stuff off since we're going to be covering most of it up. All right, so the new seat is actually going to screw in back here where this cover is, so I'm just going to remove that. Just pops right out. We're actually going to have to move this mounting hardware back to the back hole back here. So there's this little rubber piece that kind of clips on there, and it'll fall out the bottom. So just looks like that. And then we'll reinstall it on this back one. And I'm just gonna go up underneath the fender. So you can see on the back here where I moved it, and that little moon clip is the only thing holding that in. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and install this. The Saddleman seat does come with this rubber washer that will actually go right here over that between the fender and the actual seat itself. And then this clip here will clip in right here, and we'll kind of push it forward. And the holes line up back here, and we'll just drop in that screw and tighten it back down. So this is what it looks like as a close-up. I have that rubber gasket that was provided by Saddleman between the fender and the bracket for the seat, and then just reuse the original hardware to install the seat. So here is what the Saddleman Explorer seat looks like on the 2023 Low Rider St. Does change the look a little bit and does add a lot more backrest for the driver, and then obviously a lot more cushion here for the passenger. Swing around here. All right, so now we'll take a look at my rider position, how it's changed. And it does feel a lot different. I do feel like I'm sitting higher on the Saddleman step up. So there is that. Definitely a noticeable difference in height. And then this is what it looks like with my knees up. So I feel like I'm sitting a little bit more up on top of the bike than I was, and I can feel like this curve right here. It's going to take some time to get used to, but I do have a lot more surface area on the backrest here that I can lean up on. So I did hear it does take a little while to get these things broken in with that gel, so it will probably take a little bit of getting used to. The seat does feel wider on the bike now. It does feel like my thighs are sitting more on the seat than the previous stock seat. So I definitely feel like I'm sitting on more surface area than I was. So we'll see if that does help with longer rides, but feels comfortable. Just a little bit of adjustment that I'm gonna have to go through on this. And my wife is gonna jump on the back later today and see how it is for the passenger. All right, so this does feel a lot different than the stock seat. Like, I definitely feel like I'm sitting further up than I was on the stock seat. And just the contour of this one feels different. It's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely going to take some getting used to. But I do feel like you sit more into the seat, so when you do get on it, you don't feel like you're going to fly off or anything. I definitely feel like I'm more tucked into the seat. Yeah, I definitely feel a lot more secure than the seat when you get up on it. I know I could feel myself getting pushed back on the stock seat when I got on the throttle, but with this, I'm not moving anywhere. I stay in place. And I definitely do feel more back support with that higher backrest on it. So I do see how this will be more comfortable for longer rides. The stock seat wasn't too uncomfortable for me yet, but I can definitely feel on longer rides, like I can feel through that foam. But with this, I definitely don't feel anything. It is nice and firm. When my wife gets off work today, she wants to take a little ride on the back of it. So it'll be her first time on a Harley and our first time riding together. So hopefully she likes it. My wife and I jumped on the bike and took it out for about a 45-minute to an hour ride, kind of throughout different road conditions. We rode a little bit through the city, then we went out to the country, and then we even did a little bit of highway riding just to really see how the seat felt, both from me and the passenger. And we were really surprised. Myself in particular, she really enjoyed riding on the back of the Low Rider ST and had no complaints about the seat whatsoever. She said there was plenty of cushion for her and held her in place. So for the 45-minute to an hour ride, she didn't complain at all, which I was surprised because I thought at least the bumps would get her or something like that, but no complaints from the passenger on that initial ride. I did find out that compared to the stock seat, it is more comfortable and keeps you in your spot, because with the original stock seat, I would always find myself having to adjust myself because I would get thrown out of place a little bit from either turning or getting on the gas a little bit. So I'd always have to adjust myself in the seating position. But with the Saddleman Explorer seat, I basically kept me in the same spot the entire time. I didn't find myself having to make a whole bunch of adjustments or anything. So it really keeps you planted in the seat, and that's all you got to worry about. So I don't know what else I can say about the initial impressions with the Saddleman Explorer seat. It has been great so far. Again, just the first day taking it out and riding it, but I think it's just going to get even better as we break it in a little bit more. So no complaints for us, and you can kind of see what it looks like. I did have some trouble when I was doing some research of seeing exactly what it looked like on the bike and getting the passenger experience on that. So if you guys haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and hit it, because we will be doing a long-term video after we ride some more on that seat, give you some more in-depth feedback after we put some more miles on it. So hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when we come out with that video. And while we wait for that, why don't you go ahead and check out these other videos on the Low Rider ST.